the carrier to rotate in. So if you're dire side clock, it's a nice advantage.
Well, Dazzle's going to be picked up with Lina and Clockwork, so they've got a good balance of initiation and aggression as well as the ability to save. Whenever I see that Dazzle though, this keeps popping up, which is actually the Huskar pickup. I blame a little bit of Space Creative for that one, because there's a couple of Southeast Asian teams that instantly just followed their suit by running this Dazzle and Huskar together.
I think Huskar's one of those heroes that I've been running in pubs a lot, that if you last pick and it fits the situation, you can actually you win. Like, the game's over. It's actually that ridiculous.
You should check out Space Creative's lineup when they did the Corsair Gaming Arena. And it was the same lineup every single time, but all they would do is substitute either Bloodseeker or Huskar as their 5th pick. They just let them get all the way through, and then just 5th picked that. It was crazy. Like, we actually had Huskars and Bloodseekers walking around with 50 armor, and then there's either insane resistance or regeneration.
It's also just the fact that there are a lot of lineups that focus like primarily on getting magic damage out, and then what ends up happening is you have an intel core mid, and then you don't have a Lina on your team, and you just straight up lose. Like, Gyrocopter isn't very good against it because the Rocket Barrage does absolute garbage damage. A lot of your damage relies on you being able to hit the flak in the Rocket Barrage, right? So a lot of the meta heroes right now don't actually do much to a hero like Huskar. Like, even Storm doesn't do very much, so it's kind of rough. But I like Fnatic's lineup. Like, they have a really well-balanced lineup. You've got a Lina who's most likely playing mid. I believe Lina mid beats TA, if I remember correctly. I think that's what somebody told me. I'm almost certain it does. I'm playing the matchup in my head right now.
You have Musica at least agreeing with you on that point. But that's if you look at early points up in Fiery Soul, so you take out refraction charges, and then you just blow them up.
I'm almost certain Lina is favored in that matchup, because I played it like 2 days ago. And although pub experience is different, obviously, you can still kind of account for some things. But the Ancient Apparition pick, really big fan of that. It's one of the better ways to deal with a core Lina or a core anti-mage, because these heroes rely on being able to skirt in fights, like get in and out, and Ancient Apparition takes that away. Like, you can't really kite around that hero. You get hit by Ice Blast, ugh.
You kind of commit, unless you can get the perfect timing of Shallow Grave, but that's still...
Yeah, it's pretty rough. It's good against Clockwork, too. But I like both teams' lineup so far. Maybe slight edge to... Maybe even slight edge to Execration. Like, I think Fnatic is the better team, so it's more likely that they win as a result, but I like Execration's draft.
I look at it, and I like the team fight potential that you actually get from them, but at the same time I'm wondering if this is really going to move into laning phase presence. Like the Earthshaker and the Ancient Apparition, I know he gives like huge amounts of damage early on, but if you're running like a Dazzle Clockwork dual off lane, you then run a safe lane Anti-Mage +1, or even, okay, it looks like they're actually thinking that's going to be a Dazzle support for Fnatic and a support Lina as well.
I guess you could. I think Dazzle, Lina, Anti-Mage, though, as a tri-support combo isn't very strong. Like, you don't really have the best setup. Lina's a pretty greedy hero, but I guess they're just gonna run with it. Storm mid. And, okay, this is a really nice combination. If you pick Storm and Anti-Mage, you don't have enough lockdown for both of them if you're Execration. So their offlane hero has to be... They either just go for the all-out push and go for the 25-minute win and snowball, or you pick a lockdown hero and you feel okay with going late game.
You can always go for the 17... Oh, no, 17%'s taken out. Who is even left that can go for that lockdown hero?
Beastmaster's pretty good. The laning phase for him is actually pretty nice against both of these supports, too. Okay.
Yeah, don't click play.
I was trying to look at the heroes.
No, wait, once you get inside the game, Blitz, just never touch anything.
I just wanted to see all the heroes that were available. That's so obnoxious.
Welcome to our last yesterday.
I just forgot.
Oh my god. It's roulette too. Like, whenever you hit that play button, like, you have a 50-50 chance of closing down your game.
Rough. But Beastmaster's not bad. I'm trying to think of what other heroes work well as an offlaner against Storm. I guess you could put the Earthshaker as an offlane and pick... They're gonna do. You pick a lockdown support and you take Earthshaker I think that's fine. You have to kind of make that adjustment, right? Like originally you might not want to do that, but then you see the like, okay, there's actually no way that we can run ES as a support this game.
You still get what you're searching for. Like you're getting your lockdown. Yeah, you're not going to get. Well, even then, you're still going to get your damage out from the Earthshaker.
So I think a lot of the times I'm biased towards the team that I know to be better as a caster, because I know that it's the safer play to say, oh well, this team's lineup is better, and if they win with it, then I look smart. But I like Execration's lineup. I'm not sure what their skill level's like, because I know Fnatic are the kings of C. They have been for quite some time, but I do like Execration's lineup a lot.
They get a lot to work with. I'm just interested to see how they go. The other downside about what they've drafted into here is the fact that it does take time for a lot of these heroes to come online, and even items-wise, like you're still wanting to get both Blink Dagger on the line as well as the Earthshaker. The Ancient Apparition needs to get up to level 6. The Templar Assassin would like to have some momentum with her items early on. So Nando, the prayer is getting that early Desolator or Blink Dagger.
I think
I love this from Ned as well. They both TP down the bottom lane. They're not going to let XCTN get that early ward down.
Oh,
he's going to take some damage for his life, for his troubles. He's got a minute. He can walk back to base and heal up.
It's so important though that he get that ward down. Like he has no idea now, and now the rest of Fnatic have filtered in. It's really difficult, and so for me, the playmakers of this game, where it'll really depend on, is DJ, played by Chrissy. I guess I'll just call him DJ because that's what he wants to be known as now. Playing the Clockwork, he actually has to just make a ton of space this game. If you notice, his team has like 0 lockdown. I don't really consider Storm and Lina lockdown heroes, just because you have to fully commit, and the Lina especially is not. And for me, it's this Templar Assassin on the side of Execration.
That's the one you want to have locked down?
No, he's the hero that I'm looking out for. Like, those are the 2 heroes in this game that I'll watch carefully. The Clockwork and the Templar Assassin. Because if the TA, he's on dire side. If he gets a quick deso, and there's not a lot of disable on the side of Fnatic, then he could just win the game for his team.
The battle
we'll see if what you're thinking of will come to pass. Either way, let's get ourselves into the games. This is game one of our best of 3. Fnatic going up against XCTN for the ESL 1 qualifier. Every game is elimination. It's a single elimination bracket. You can follow all the details over on joiner.com. And of course, you can stay tuned for the big action which comes up in a couple of weeks' time, which is ESL 1 New York, with some great teams already invited, and some other teams still having to qualify. Fnatic having to prove that this new roster of theirs is capable of working. But they're really sitting in a comfort zone, though. So you get Mushio High to play this mid lane up against this TA and Lion combo of XCTN. But Black's got anti-mage. That's the biggest comfort zone of Fnatic.
It's just a good hero, too. When you pair it with Storm especially, like we talked about.
Yep.
It's a safe pick that can do a whole lot. In the laning phase, it might be kind of weak, but especially against an Earthshaker, it's not a hero that's going to contest you very heavily, so they can play these pretty greedy lanes.
I've got my eyes just fixed on mid. Ohia's doing a really great job of getting rid of all these refraction charges to TA, and the second he comes close with that really low attack range to the creep wave, Ohio just throws down the shadow wave. He's trying to chip away at that Templar Assassin bit by bit, and he's got it to a point where this TA is still a long way away from bottle. That's having to soak up consumables of Fox.
I mean, this is really good for Fnatic just because you want to be able to get aggressive if you're XCTN because you have a line in the lane, but because they're doing a really good job of keeping Nando at pretty low HP, it's hard for him to actually come up and harass with the Lion, and Fnatic will gladly take this type of laning phase where it's relatively passive, but the Templar Assassin is starting to catch up in CS, which is kind of expected in this lane. In the past, I think this lane was considered TA favored, but I think in recent times, especially with the way that you build the Storm, it's pretty even.
Looks like your top lane's doing pretty well as well. DJ up to level 3, 2 minutes in. He was able to get the cam pulled off to the side, which allowed for the dire creep wave to come directly underneath his tier 1 tower, and he farmed it up there. Took a little bit of extra damage for it, but has the consumables to make it work. It still means this Gyrocopter's getting some really good farm. He's up to 10 for 1. Neck and neck with the anti-mage.
Oh, and first blood. Mushi actually goes down by what looks like
It had to be
himself.
Sideblades. It had to be Sideblades there, right?
Yeah, because the lion actually was gone by the time we looked, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that the lion over here helps with that, and we can just check if he got an assist. Nope. So
DJ's going to get a kill on top lane.
That's absurd.
Burden will get a revenge kill, however. He isolated the Ancient Apparition instead of Cogs with Battery Assault. And that's a 1-1-1 build from him.
That should not happen, especially when you have a gyro as your carry. Like that. The Ancient Apparition has to realize, like, he doesn't really have a hard disable for the clockwork, so he can't really allow that to happen, and that's what I'm talking about. He just makes plays.
But the issue is, like, there's no movement speed for the Ancient Apparition. How do you really avoid a clockwork who's already got those boots early on? He just wants to run in.
You pretty much just have to play the game where you have to be near your gyrocopter.
Primo's in trouble. Stuns are going to connect. There is the Shadow Wave heal, which will hurt a little bit as Ned's just trying to body block him up so he's able to get another Light Strike array as well as Slave off. If they can connect on that stun, then Primo will end up dying. But Primo goes into the trees. The Slave, he actually shoots it around! Goes around the side. Fox will wait for him.
Oh, what a god. That was... I thought he was insane. I was like, why doesn't he just run down? But no. That was the play.
It looked like suicide. I thought the Slave was going to give them the vision so they could see it.
Yeah, that was really nice.
DJ is now having a crack over a burn. He's walked point blank range into a gyrocopter and turned on a level 1 battery assault. He's gonna lose his life for it as they gave also chilling touch over to XCTN, and the physical damage is enough to bring down the clock.
Yeah, and XCTN's... This is what I was talking about. The laning phase from Fnatic is actually going to be quite rough because they have no real hard lockdown disables on their team. And look at their cores too. Anti-Mage and Storm... When you think of Storm, you might think he's an aggressive hero, but that only happens in the latter portion of the game. Like, in this early mid-game build-up, you almost always want to just focus on getting your own items, and it's real significant that the Templar Assassin was able to solo kill him. Like, he's just going to have such a big experience lead, and it's going to slow down Mushi so much. Like, he does have a stack to go back on, which is the benefit of being on the Radiant side, but you really hate to die in that position.
Dire's middle tower is under
He's also going to
attack.
make sure he holds on to these stacks, because I'm looking at XCTN where they're already aggressively moving into the Radiant jungle. If they move over far enough and these Radiant stacks for Mushi get scouted out by Nando, the swing is going to be pretty damn big.
Oh yeah, if he should realize though, like there's 100% no chance that he doesn't know about the stacks being available. So if they want to get aggressive, they probably could actually, if the clockwork, they do it before the clockwork hits level 6, could get aggressive, go into the jungle and scout it out. But you would have to bring at least 3 or 4 heroes for that, maybe even the gyro to steal it. And I actually kind of think it's worth it. If you remember during TI, a lot of the Chinese teams would do that. Like, I think it was C-Deck that would just gear up with their carry, smoke into the enemy jungle, clear out stacks, and it was so effective.
I remember a lot of that play as well when I was casting, oh god, what was that Chinese? I think it was actually Cena I was casting. Probably about 6 months ago now, but it was when the Chinese team was focusing so much attention over towards the Ancients area, and everyone would just, like, they'd actually smoke up on each other and take each other's Ancient stacks.
That was, do you remember, that was DreamHack with Alliance, with Envy? That was the meta. You would just smoke to steal each other's Ancients. It was so miserable to watch. That was back when Jimmy was on EG, I think.
Oh, you're talking no Tidehunter days.
Yeah. Remember when they used to do that? It was like smoke to steal an Ancient stack. What a meta.
Let's never ever revisit that time again.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah. Oh. Dazzle Illusion's going to end up scouting out the Earthshaker moving down. I don't know if ES has really had that kind of... I don't really feel like Primo's presence has been that amazing. Like, the Duke at the trees, hell yeah, like make highlight clip of that forever. But his rotations with these, like, you can't fissure block out the Storm Spirit, or at least he could earlier on.
They're trying to go for it right now before Mushi hits 6, but the creep wave is pushing in.
And he goes, like, with the Dazzle Illusion being picked up and the fact he got scouted out, there's no way that Mushi's also going to, like, not see this coming.
Oh, for sure.
It's... That's what I'm worried that the Earthshaker's presence isn't really that high. At the same time, the Ancient Apparition's getting a lot of space here with the Gyrocopter, so they're finding really good levels, which means its Ice Blast is online a lot earlier than I thought it was going to be. Even Fox has found 3.5 levels on this map.
It probably isn't the worst thing in the world for... Well, DJ shouldn't have gotten the solo kill, but the Templar Assassin is still doing a really good job right now. The Gyrocopter was able to get a kill and an assist. The Ancient Apparition is in a similar position. So even if you have a death, the safe lane hasn't gone badly for XCTN. I guess the hero to watch for this game now changes, and it's going to come down to Black. Like, priorities have shifted right now. Because the time period where you want to get aggressive is kind of, you've moved on from that now. And it looks like they do want to go on DJ at top, but without phase boost, there's no way our top catches up.
So I'm actually feeling very, very relaxed right now. Just like listening to like the ocean sounds, watching Mushi farming up a quad stack with Ohio.
The ocean sounds?
it's the peaceful time. Like, how would you go to sleep? It's just hearing those sounds of farming. Primo's in a little bit of trouble against Black. Black did blink into him though, so he's not going to finish the job. Something a level 1 mana void. And Earthshaker's mana pool isn't really high enough for that to really hurt.
Look at so if you take a look at the net worth, you might think it's a lot closer than it is because the Storm just did a huge stack, but this is just how dominant the TA has been in the lane. Like, that's actually kind of absurd, and they're gonna make a move at top. He doesn't have mana though for this.
He needed to actually have the cogs as well, but instead the Battery Assault will harass Nando back up again. And now he'll turn it. DJ, this is not the place he wanted to be, but he's got support from Ohio, and the cogs now, the mana has arrived. So he pushes him back. The Storm Spirit tries to make the most of the opportunity, jumping on Fox. Mushi unable to get the Vortex up before Fox gets the Hex.
Interesting build by Mushi. He decided to go for the extra levels of... he only got 1 level of those Static Remnant, which is pretty uncommon if you just decide to play for the farming game, but it looks like he's not going to go for that. And
he was actually farming by using Ball Lightning to then attack.
Yeah, that's kind of the downside, is because he's going to hit level 8 regardless, and he could just get the early level Remnant first, and then go for the pull, which is what more people opt to do nowadays. So I'm pretty interested to see the reasoning behind getting the Electric Vortex at 7.
I can ask him later on.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Right now, Black is really getting up in the face of Primo, and Primo's had enough, but he's brought in some help. So Fox to come in from the side, but Black, like, he doesn't actually see this coming. They've only got the Observer Ward watching the Dire Ancients. I say only, that's also stopping the block of XCTN, so Templar Assassin can't just flash farm that up. But he's just getting in behind the tier 1 tower, not taking the aggro of the tower, just getting into Primo's face.
This mid lane, I think if the Lion actually went for something like a smoke, they could probably get a kill on Mushi, but they just seem kind of hesitant in case the Dazzle's just sitting there. And Mushi's gonna go for the rune. This might actually be a kill rune too. Yeah.
Well, they're gonna get a kill on bottom lane. Primo, nice little stun over on DJ, but he already got cocked up. Ice Spot is on the edge. It's too far up.
Oh no, that was like millimeters. That's so rough.
He would have thrown that as well when the fight began, expecting Fnatic just to back out, move in front of the tier 1 tower and attack it. But the Clockwork TP'd out and full vision of the lane, didn't even hide in the trees, and it saved his life because of it.
He thought he was going to keep running. That's rough, but it doesn't really matter too much if they get the kill or not, because the clock is pretty low net worth. It would have helped the Ancient Apparition a lot, but for example, we're looking at Nando just farm that huge Ancient stack up, and he just continues to rise when it comes to net worth. Like, he's a full 2,000 ahead of Mushi at this point in the game. He's like got 40% more farm right now, and Mushi's not even doing a bad job of farming. It's just a testament to how well this TA has done so far in this game.
But there's still the bigger problem I'm seeing for Templar Assassin. It's the anti-mage. Like, Black right now is having the time of his life on bottom lane. No one's contesting him at all. He's not near the net worth of the Templar Assassin, but we know what happens once the anti-mage picks up a Battle Fury.
Yeah, at some point, XCTN, you're completely right. They do have to get aggressive on him at some point. But right now, the laning phase, it's going okay. Like, you don't want to see your Earthshaker as one of the lowest 2 net worths
like
in the game.
this. With the Fissure, they're actually in position so Black cannot blink himself away, but Fox was still close enough to get that Hex off, follow up to stun, and then the Templar Assassin will drop him down.
Oh, that's so huge too. Just look at TA's net worth now. He's absolutely massive now, and that helps out the Earthshaker so much, because this is going to give him a full 2 creep waves of just a free lane.
So finally can actually buy himself an item. Is this even the game too, where you just go directly in for a Blink Dagger? Or do you still try and finish up things like Soul Ring as well as maybe Tranquils?
I think going Soul Rings, Tranquils is okay, but in this type of scenario, he might just opt to go for the Arcane Boots because he's against an anti-mage.
DJ, hook shot in, finds the gyrocopter, the Ice Blast gonna try and turn this up, and it will end up killing off the Clockwork, especially with the cold feet. A shallow grave TP back, he may be able to survive. Oh no, he actually got stunned up. The TP will be cancelled, but the shallow grave actually kept him alive just long enough. Now we're into the middle lane though, where the Hex comes out and Mushi follow-up stuns. And Fox, right place, right time, and again the combination with the Templar Assassin. She's up to 7k practically net worth. This casual Yasha now another 1800 gold.
This is just... her net worth is insane right now, and this is just what can happen when you're against a TA. Like, the laning phase has to go slightly better for the Storm, and Mushi just had to be a little bit more careful in the laning phase to not die. And he's doing his best to try to catch up. When he did the Ancient stack, he's been doing a good job of not showing himself on the map, but he hasn't had opportunities to really get aggressive, because his team just isn't really built like that. And on top of that, Nando's just been there every single time for a gank, and I just want to give credit to the line especially. Like, supports don't really get enough credit here, but the line's done a really good job of kind of making space happen for him, keeping these stacks up in the Ancient so he can continue to snowball.
Yep.
Like, this Lion player is doing all the right things right now.
I think he was also helping out with the stacks in the Dire jungle, because Burden just took a quad stack inside the jungle. He had he had the Helmet Dominator himself, so he was doing a little bit of the work himself.
He's almost got his... he's like halfway to a blink too, so... this is a... if you're learning how to play the 4 role, I mean, he's just showing a clinic right now.
Well, it's coming back down to bottom lane to try and... maybe they can find another opening on Black. There is that level 6 Finger of Death up and running, so he's really wanting to use that. Which means the stun time you need on Black really isn't that much. If you get that initial fissure into Hex, then with your Impale and Finger of Death, you should be able to find kills. And Fnatic just had enough. They're moving everyone up to the top lane. The hook shot was well off the mark by DJ. And
that
a lot of pings coming out just saying, yo, check this out, but there's a Haster and Mushi running in. They start the weave to get the vision too, so Lemic will end up going down as Burden. He's losing this armor really quickly. The cogs are placed down, so there's no extra support that will come in from behind.
They know he's there.
Burden. The Mana Void will cancel the TP. They'll beat the extra cooldown damage, but there's still 2 kills coming the way of Fnatic, and they'll take the tier 1 tower to boot.
That's so significant. I actually don't think things should have gone that badly, because they knew as soon as the mishook goes off that everybody's there. Like, they just have to commit everybody to coming up to that top lane or just attempting to run away, but Fnatic set the trap and XCTN were just a little bit too slow to respond.
And now XCTN are going to lose more. I don't know exactly what Fox was trying to do. Ohio was just body blocking him on the tree line. The leader will ensure the kill with the slave.
I think he was trying to get...
he was just putting the observer ward down. They wanted an ops ward behind the tower, because the rest of XCTN were getting ready to push into the tier 1 tower, so they wanted to see what was coming. He just wasn't expecting Fnatic to rotate that quickly.
Yeah, and he has to anticipate that. And now the Templar Assassin does have a Deso, which he shouldn't show. What he should do right now is just go smoke with one other hero and immediately take the take Roshan, and then from there go for maybe even the tier 1 bottom. But they should start thinking about getting aggressive on some heroes, especially since they're about to pick up the Blink Dagger on the Earthshaker. And like you talked about, Black has his Battle Fury completed. You don't want to just give him free space with that.
Yeah,
like, you want to put the pressure on him, because you know Fnatic aren't gonna fight you. Like, 4v5, they're gonna wait for the anti-mage to get some items. Like, they're gonna let you run around the map and do whatever you want.
I don't think at any time you ever want... like, it doesn't even matter if Black's playing anti-mage, you never give this guy space. He's one of the most efficient farmers out there. The Clockwork Rocket scouting out the pit, so Fnatic are being very mindful about what's happening over at Roshan. Ohio's pretty damn close, and then the blink forward, they get the stun, the Ice Blast won't even reach there in time. But that's the Dazzle down, so there's no weave to scout out the pit. But at the same time, Clockwork's still pushing at the bottom lane, he'll rocket in, and always have that fear of the hook shot as well. So yeah, there goes your rocket up. They realize there's 4 players inside the pit. Roshan's down to half life, and he's negative armor. They're ripping through him really quickly. But is this the YOLO play?
I think it is, actually. I think you just go for it. Oh, no.
There it is.
Here we go.
Pushes in there too. He snatches the Aegis, and the Cogs push him up on the hill. The Echo Flame does nothing apart from tickle the bark. They are in real trouble. Anti-Mage will take out Burden. Nando's at least still fighting on the high ground, where he managed to kill off the Storm Spirit. But he is stuck up there until the Courier can bring a TP scroll out. That wasn't exactly the plan.
You have to go for it there, just because you know that Nando is getting quite low, and the positioning too is just perfect for the clockwork. Like, that was such a huge play by DJ, being able to force both of them up onto that cliff. Like, the fight could have conceivably gone even worse than that, because the clockwork would have gone down for that as well. They managed to bring down Mushi twice. The good news for XCTN, though, is that they did kill Mushi. Nando's just getting a ton of gold right now, and they did manage to get the last hit on the onto the Roshan. So, all things considered, it's okay, but Fnatic, I mean, if Chrissy doesn't hit both of those cogs up there, it could have gone a lot worse.
Oh, yeah. But because it goes the way it does, that means even Animage picks up a kill, he finds more farm, keeps that top lane pressured out. And I'm seeing more and more map control being lost here for XCTN. Like, yeah, they've taken the tier 1 tower in the middle lane, but they've lost both their side lanes. Which gives... I'm not seeing the jungle being threatened to Fnatic anymore, and in fact, Fnatic's just threatening the Dire jungle.
Yeah, right now, it's... either they have to go and gank Black, or just accept that he's going to get a lot of farm.
They gank Clockwork instead. The Lion's able to find the last hit. He didn't have a Finger of Death up for that fight. But with the Ice Blast and the quick movement... It's actually one of those very few times when you look at the lineup. Because like with Storm Spirit and Animage, like, you were mentioning it during the drafting phase, like, how do you even lock these guys down? But with Templar Assassin traps, the Lina, the Dazzle, and the Clockwork actually have real problems with that. Is this almost one of these times where you look for 4-staffs to just get yourself free?
Oh yeah, it's going to help against the anti-mage a lot too. You're going to notice that the Lina is going to go for the Yules, which is pretty customary, but I would like to see 4-staffs as the next items. Maybe even Glimmer Capes, actually. Maybe Glimmer Capes are more prioritized, just because of the line finger damage, the AA Ice Blast. Like, the only real physical damage dealer that I see as a huge threat is probably Nando playing the Templar Assassin. But even she's not that bad, because only 1k HP, no magic resistance at all, no BKB or anything like that. So their team isn't very... they can't really run in, but they kind of have to, because you can't just let Black continue to farm like this, but at the same time, this passive game style does not benefit you.
Oh, that hook shot! Nando actually took a step backwards so he could get
here.
Yeah, Fox was just looking for just a solo pick. He's still getting a nice little 4-man Ice Blast, but it's not going to be able to achieve anything. They were looking for just that one little pick off with the rotating, with like either Black rotating or something like that. Get the kill, get the hell out of there. And Nando just left him for dead. The second he realized the Clockwork was there too, took a back step so he didn't get hit by the hook shot.
Right now, Black is just snowballing. I want to say, I was paying attention about 2 minutes ago, he was 2,000 net worth behind the Templar Assassin. And now he's only about 200 away. Like, he's just done such a good job of catching up, and he's mainly been playing by himself too, so it's not even like his team isn't getting anything as a result of this.
Yeah. I was actually really surprised about that, because that was one of those things which was always scrutinized, like Black was scrutinized for, where he would take too much of the farm from the rest of the team. It was more like this 4 protect 1 kind of style. But it seems like his farming pattern is spaced out a little bit more, so Fnatic's actually grabbing like different areas of the jungles, and the timing is, I don't know, they're just being more efficient with the movements, so everyone gets a little bit of everything.
I think the main criticism... Oh, and actually, they're gonna get a pretty significant kill right there on the Lina.
That was 2 hits from Nando. This Lina has no survivability.
But what I was gonna say is, that's actually a really good point you bring up. I think a lot of the times when I would watch Black play, you would go for the safe farm if he was playing a hero like Anti-Mage, where he wouldn't really pressure or bring any pressure to his team, but nowadays, I mean, you're seeing him push all the way up to that tier 2 at top. That's just trust in your team. If this mid tower goes down too, this is going to be pretty significant, because they can't really just
higher.
That up.
He has to self-grave himself, but that means he's going to lose the Clockwork, the Echo Slam, and Finger of Death committed to ensure the DJ drops. So XCTN commit quite heavily with their ultimates. That Finger of Death has a very long cooldown time. And what the value was really lost here for Fnatic. You lost your Clockwork, but you're not losing any kind of map control because you instantly go into a split push.
Yeah, more than anything, you either have to kill Black or you have to kill his teammates. And they're getting some pickoffs here and there, but the pressure game is still definitely in favor of Fnatic right now. Like, you look at the score, it's 10-9, and largely XCTN has been ahead. But you look at the net worth and the XP, and it's now started to kind of gradually go Fnatic's way. And this is just on the play of Black being really safe, not getting caught out whatsoever. He's got 214 CS already at the 22-minute mark, and he might actually just grab a solo kill here at top if they're not ready for it.
Well, that's if Ancient Apparition comes closer to the tower.
He should get this.
He's being very cautious though, because he doesn't know where the rest of XCTN are. They're very blind in the bottom lane. So they'll see Burden arrive, and now Nando also reveals himself. Net does not want to be here at the moment.
Limit, come on, you know you don't want to.
He's in range.
Oh no.
There it is.
He was so careful for so long, but I mean, Black was just more patient.
Dire's middle tower.
He had to be sitting there going, oh, Black's gonna be farming up Radiant jungle. Like, he's gonna be in my jungle. He's not just gonna be sitting in the tower. The funny thing is, though, they saw him blink there a minute ago.
Oh, and at top 2, this is just gonna mean more kills for them, and this is so huge.
They even just leave him to die injured.
This is gonna be a tier 2 as well, and I mean, Mushi he's probably 7 minutes behind in farm, but it doesn't even matter just because Black has been creating so much space at top.
Yep.
Like, they might get a kill here, but...
Oh!
I saw that.
It's like she just softens him, softens her up in this case. And then just pounds her down.
There's the tier 2 at top, though. And they're just getting trades every single time. The Manta's about to be completed on the anti-mage.
Black's actually gonna go for more. He's blinking into the tier 3 tower. That's a kill. That's a kill.
They have to get a rebuttal for this.
Well, how? His movement's so quick. You got the blink dagger on the Templar Assassin. The Fissure can't connect, and Black will just keep blinking away.
Oh no, that's... You lose a tier 2 tower, you literally just watch your Ancient Apparition die in the base with no rebuttal. He's gonna have a fully completed Manta style now, and things just get... And it's not like things get easier from this situation.
There's your jump forward. That's a double damage room, but the Cogs pushing Templar Assassin away does not want to keep the chase going. Probably worried that it'll be both a Clockwork and an anti-mage that Nando would have to deal with.
This really reminds me of how...
this is the moment. Oh, the stun! It's off target.
No, they can't miss out on these opportunities.
And now DJ's gonna isolate the Lion. Lion's got finger of death. He'll kill himself to do it if he doesn't. And he doesn't want to, but he's gonna do it anyway. The Blade Mail was up. That's what stopped him. The Ice Blast hitting pretty heavily into DJ. And Nano's gonna try and capitalize. Blinking forward to find the kill. But Ned with the York and the stun allows for Black to come in. It'll be Laguna play to kill secure. Going 15-12 now. XCTN. It almost looks like they're getting frustrated with the fact they just can't find the picks.
No, that's completely what it is, because at this point, they're starting to realize their laning phase went so well, and they got the Templar Assassin so much GPM, but it's not really starting to matter because Black's been playing a really good team, and his entire team has been playing around it too. Like, the Stormseer doesn't show himself on the map, doesn't allow himself any opportunities to get picked off, and Mushi is kind of willingly giving up the 1 position slot to Black. And you're seeing it just pay off, because he's going to take a tier 2 tower for free, and now he's just playing with reckless abandon. Like, 4 or 5 gank attempts in a row that don't work, you're going to start to just get cocky. Like, you're thinking to yourself, there's actually no way. Like, they just have to commit too heavily to kill me. Maybe even at this point, it's too late. There's 2 times where you either gank the anti-mage before he gets the Battle Fury, or right after before he gets the Manta, and both times have kind of just gone away.
I almost feel like the only way they can kill that anti-mage is with like a Blink Echo Slam initiation. The Templar Assassin has to be hot in the heels. But at least he's got Blink BKB, so when it comes to the fighting, the Templar Assassin is still very strong. And we've got to keep our eyes on this Gyrocopter. He's also working his way towards that BKB, being 400 gold away. So the XCTN team fight is still a powerhouse. But their issue is being split push. But it looks like Fnatic's going to be quite willing to give them a team fight. Earthshaker being dragged back. Lion can't get the Hex off in time. Can't even get there in time. I actually thought XCTN was a lot closer to their Earthshaker using him as bait. But they'll lose him, and now they're going to lose top.
They had to get something out of that again, because they had the numbers advantage right there. And they're still losing heroes before that. I think XCTN, they played the laning phase really well, but things are kind of just starting to fall apart because they're getting frustrated. Like, they can't really kill anybody, they're not finding opportunities on the map, and they're probably just scratching their heads and saying, what really went wrong here?
I'm trying to also work out what is going on here with the 2 Obs Wards. So this one, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's actually blocking the Ancients sitting in that tree line.
Yeah, I think it does. And the first one is just meant to... It's really just Roche. It's just... They're trying to get complete advantage of the map right now. that just helps with one of the objectives in Roshan. I think the Ancient kind of counts as an objective too. So they're just splitting up the map.
Well, they start those two observer wards I was flagging out before saw the Templar Assassin blink into the pit. So in the meantime, Black is going to force out the top lane. Mushi's not actually close. Like, he can jump to the tier 2 tower. Actually, the Templar Assassin blinks out. They're really, really uncertain about what Fnatic is up to, and rightly so. Like, they've got no vision. Like, they got one observer ward, which is down inside the Radiant jungle, but everything else was taken out because of the gem, which is on the Dazzle.
A lot of sentries on the side of XCTN, but when it comes to actual vision, their map is so dark. Like, this is the one ward they have up right now that hasn't been dewarded. You've got some TA trap here and there. No, they put it up.
Oh yeah, sorry, that one.
Yeah, they've got one.
So they just lost one inside the Radiant jungle.
Yeah, they've got one. And actually, Fnatic, I mean, XCTN has done a really good job of keeping up with D-wards. Like, credit where credit's due. The problem, though, is you do need to get some vision up right now, and Fnatic are just kind of playing really aggressively all along the map. Because they realize at this point, you lose one hero, it doesn't matter because they've been given like 8 minutes of free farm space. Oh, and Black even sniffs this out. This is fairly significant right now because they're not getting anything out of this.
This is one of these things I was wondering if we're going to see from this new Fnatic lineup. Just the ability to keep presence of mind. Obviously, the experience of these players is always going to weigh in there. Where you're like, okay, they're all missing. Like, something is wrong. Let's just back it up. But it kind of feels like they move with purpose. The second they realize something has happened, they go, okay, now it's time to trade. But even on the way down, it's like, we farm up here as well, we farm up there. XCTN are coming in to try and contest Roshan. They cannot win a fight against Fnatic when they also have an Aegis to the Immortal. So they Ice Blast in, and then Echo Slam too early for Primo! Roshan's going to punish him by just beating him down, but Nando will also arrive for the fight. Net, Yule setting himself up because Earthshaker was just killed off by Roshan. The cooldown is a really good position for him. Ohayo's going to self-grave at this point, but Fox, with that mana void, he'll end up going down. They pick up the Dazzle, and there's also a nice little gem that'll get into the hands of the Gyrocopter. So it's a 2-for-2 trade-off. Black coming back further. Gets a lucky bash onto the Templar Assassin, and Net, they know he's up there. The Vortex doesn't reveal him because he's just far enough away that the vision isn't there. So the Light Striker race done. Mushy sitting on the cliffside. The Red will give them the perfect vision inside the pit, and now Black's the front line. Roshan actually taking the moment again. 2 snatches in one game. Mushy goes to work. Nando's going to drop. The Gyro being Yule Scepter up. There isn't a Light Strike ready to control, but it doesn't matter when Black is there. The Laguna Blade will actually get the kill. A triple kill for the Lina. So XCTN, you may have taken Roshan, but you've lost the war.
How does Net just get... How is he just able to stand up there for like the entire fight, and it pays off? Like, that was the majority of it. XCTN were actually in a decent position where they traded 2 for 2. Unfortunately for them, they lost their 2 lockdown heroes. And once that happens, the Anti-Mage and the Storm Spirit feel so safe to do whatever they want, and you saw that in that fight. Mushi with his second Aegis steal of the game. If you think about it, if they were able to get either of those Aegises, especially the first one, the game could have just been over. Like, XCTN could have just 5-manned, put an Aegis on their Templar Assassin, have her hit towers. You had an Anti-Mage with only a Battle Fury, Mushi who had nothing. Like, if you remember correctly, Mushi had like 1 Oblivion staff at that point. If they are able to get either Aegis there, the game might just end, but Fnatic contesting it every single time, and with no stuns on the ground, that's just a free Aegis. Like, it's just a right-click race.
The race keeps getting won by Fnatic. I'm wondering how long until they reach the finish line, though. Because Black's coming into this tier 2 tower. It doesn't stand a chance. The TPing in support, so Burton's going to come. He doesn't turn the flag cannon on straight away, but now he'll take out the wave. They're actually trying to scout out their own Ancients with Ice Blast. Those Ancients aren't coming back for another minute at least. Burton now initiated on by Mushi, and Black right behind him with a Mana Style pop. They go for more. It's the Orchid attack into the Ancient Apparition that will also pop him. This is troublesome. Primo, now is your time to shine. When Fnatic all stand on each other's toes and you Echo Slam them all. That's the path to victory right now.
I think Fnatic are playing too clean right now. I think it's too difficult right now for XCTN to take fights. You're just losing heroes left and right at this point. And the Anti-Mage just continues to skyrocket in net worth. He's got a fully completed Abyssal Blade. On top of the 1300 gold, he almost has buyback too. And it might not even matter if he has buyback, because most of their tier 1s and their tier 2s are still standing. If you're XCTN though, the way you can still get into this game is you just have to be the one to start the fight. I actually don't think there's any way for them to win 4v5, so they just have to win the fight and get a numbers advantage as soon as possible.
It's not for the want of trying. Like, they've come out with smokes, they've come out with the number advantage trying to find a pick-off. The problem is they're doing it blind. They have no idea where Fnatic is moving.
Alright, so Fnatic, they're just taking control of the jungle. You know that time when they 5-man smoked top to try to gank the anti-mage? Yep. I actually think the correct response there would have been to send 1 or 2 heroes that don't matter, like the gyrocopter to the bottom lane, to show himself to the Lina. Because if the Lina's pushing in that far bottom and you're not killing her,
then Black will come up.
Yeah, then it'll say, okay, Black's thinking to himself, alright, they're not killing our Lina, who's all the way at a tier 2 tower at bottom. Like, it has to be me. And then when neither of them dies, then he knows it's confirmed. Then he's like, okay, for sure they were going for the smoke gank here. It's just too much information.
Ancient Apparition gets rid of that Observer Ward. So it's actually DJ's, he kind of flagged it a little bit too easily for them, where he threw a rocket right on top of 4 of their heroes. It's an area you might be scouting with a rocket, but it's just tingling the senses of XCTN. They had to get rid of the ob one was there. But now Fnatic move forward. So if Fnatic know that, like, XCTN cannot win the head-to-head fight, is this just that moment where it looks like what they're doing right now? Like, just roof up and go. Just push into a lane and take the fight. You don't have Aegis to the Immortal, so you don't have to, you can't use that. But do you not care anyway and just go for it?
I think you could, but it's still a little bit risky. The problem right now for XCTN, though, is that their cores just aren't mobile enough to keep up with the Stormshirt and an Anti-Mage when it comes to farm. So a large portion of this game is going to now come into whether or not Fnatic decide to do what you just said. They get a little bit too over-aggressive, maybe XCTN can win a fight in their base. But it's just going to come down, I feel, to more of Fnatic's mess-ups than XCTN being able to do any sort of massive outplay at this point.
This anime is crazy. Like, I'm looking at Black, and just checking at his experience per minute now is over. It's almost 940 experience per minute coming into this Anti-Mage. His gold per minute is over 700. It's 721 right now. He is just getting so much across this map. I still don't feel like he's stealing anything from the rest of his teammates.
Nah, his team actually is doing a really good job. Like, highlight of Net, who's done a really good job pushing in that bottom lane repeatedly to force XCTN to have to choose, and he doesn't even get picked off that often. Like, in the early game, maybe once or twice, but ever since then, I mean, he's 8-2-2. This guy's one of the most stable supports in the C region. He's about to pick up an Aghanims as well. Ohio's done a really good job of playing the 5 position, which is something we're not used to from Ohio. Like, this guy is through and through been a core player his entire career, so he goes from playing the 2 or 3 position to all of a sudden having to play a hard 5 role. Like, that's pretty tough.
Zap! Should still be doing his job for it. Echo Slam on top.
They need to kill him for this.
Black needs to die right now, and they've got enough. Oh, 1,007 gold. It's the 1007 coming in for the Templar Assassin for money, and they're trying to capitalize even further. Mushy jumps forward with the BKB, but Nando is here. Mushy losing life very, very quickly. The Vision from Primo actually locking down Ohio, allowing Burden to get that damage, and they'll take out the Lina too. Mega kill streaks galore are coming down. XCTN, it's the moment. There's no buybacks on all 3 of these heroes.
You gotta go for it right now. Like, you actually have to get Rax out of this, otherwise the game... Yeah, you just took so much. Like, how many opportunities are you going to get where the Storm's BKB's on CD, you don't have buybacks on anybody? Like, this is your moment if you're XCTN. This is what you've been waiting for the entire time. You called it. Primo had to get that Echo Slam off on the Anti-Mage. We saw a few failed attempts in the early game, but this is the one that matters. That's so much of a net worth swing. Like, the Templar Assassin actually just has 5,300 gold right now. Like, they have to get a lot out of this.
They don't know where they can go, though. They want to force buyback down the mid, but the creep wave was so far back, they couldn't get there in time, and they're realizing they may take the tier 2 tower in the mid, but they won't get any more.
They're not getting anything else out of this.
They just take the tier 1 tower on the top. That was your opening when you actually caught Fnatic with their pants down and no money in the pockets.
I don't know how many more opportunities they're going to get like that. And so it almost feels... I mean, that was fantastic by them, obviously, but The fact that they weren't able to get a tier 2 or really capitalize on that or even catch the storm during that time period is going to cost them pretty heavily, I think. But Fnatic, I mean, now they have to know they have to be a little bit more careful in these engagements because it is still easy for them to die and they can't get over aggressive. I almost feel like they have to wait around the next Roche timer more than anything.
I'd agree. But then how do you keep control of Roshan? At least you got one thing back. Like, you got that gem of Fnatic back into the hands of Primo. So you can start to establish a little bit more vision and remove heavy vision that Fnatic had. Like, Primo sees the ward, but it's a trap. Up comes Black and he just blinks away straight away. Did not want to take any time. And Observer's also watching out the bottom lane. So Mushi, he's making the most out the last 30 seconds of it. And they leave another one on the top lane as well.
That Rocket scouts out all 5 heroes right there, and Nando actually decides to go for the MKB instead of the Daedalus, which I think is in response to Black's item build, hoping if he decides to go for a Butterfly. But I actually think he should have just gone for the Daedalus in this case, because you're seeing the Anti-Mage more or less 6-slotted, and Black can just decide to go for an MKB of his own to deal with the Gyrocopter, or a Heart, exactly. He doesn't have to get the Butterfly in this case.
I'm actually worried about, like, Black's survivability. Like, he's losing armor so quickly when the Templar Assassin jumps on him, and the TA now, with the Monkey King bar, like, I'm kind of with you for the Daedalus build, because you're not worrying about Butterfly anymore, and it's all about getting the quick pops. Like, that's the way for XCTN to win this game. Like, you just jump in, instantly get the kill, move on to the next one. That's exactly how the last fight happened. You get the Echo and you pump out the damage, and then you just move on to the next target. Storm Spirit jumps in, and instantly, then Mushi's like, crap, I've only got 1400 life. How the hell am I meant to even survive in this fight? Actually, how is he meant to survive? Apart from jumping away, which means you're burning your initiation out.
You can't really, as a Storm 2, the way that he's built his hero, you notice, Toby, there's one key component missing. He doesn't have the Bloodstone.
Yep.
So there's no real snowball effect for Mushi. Like, his item set isn't too bad, but if you really think about it, all he really has right now is 2 major items with the 3rd coming up, but all of those are really cheap. Like, there's no Hex on Mushi, there's no Bloodstone, so the snowball component isn't there. Black's almost 6-slotted. Things are actually really dangerous now for Fnatic, because their core items have come out and they're not winning the game quite yet. Like, Ned has an Aghanim Scepter. What else does he really get that's going to impact this game? Ohio is never going to get farmed. Like, there's just too many heroes that'll prioritize it over him. And even Black, he can get maybe one more item, maybe get a double Boots of Travel, but aside from that, there's not a whole lot of options. And
this
so
is the moment.
they're going to go for the Roshan, and this is the fight right now.
Clockwork Rocket scouts that. It's only Burden and Nando in there. There's also the Centaur they're trying to drag away. That's the dominated creep of the Gyrocopter Black.
He's got to be careful. This is the game-winning fight right now. If XCTN can actually win this fight, everything's wiped away. Like, their past mistakes in the mid-game, it doesn't even matter because they could just win this one fight and go on to win the game.
Well, they're trying to... They're actually going for the wraparound. Vision-wise, where is this Clockwork Rocket going? It's only looking inside the pit. So this is the vision right now of Fnatic. They're hoping XCTN is going to come down from the secret shop. But what they don't know is that XCTN is inside the Radiant jungle. Now, they're going to 5-man smoke and then come from behind. Their Observer Ward was watching the movement of Fnatic, and they know they haven't come back yet.
Oh, they see the trap get placed. Like, I'm looking at the vision right now of Fnatic, and they actually see this coming. And they're pinging around. They're trying to make sure they're scouting with the rocket. They actually have to know that the wraparound's coming in right now. And you're seeing Black actually headed off. They see it too. They just saw the players come in.
There's the Observer Ward, sees the Echo Slam. They jump on the Clockwork. The Ice Blast flying in. It'll connect over on Ohio. But how much damage should really be done? It's being drained out the back lines. It's 3 heroes down for XCTN. The Clockwork just buys back. Black locks down the Gyrocopter. And this was not the fight XCTN wanted. They thought they had the advantage, but the smoke blew. They jumped with the Echo Slam on the clock, but that's all they got. And now they'll lose Roshan as well.
That's so huge. Like, they could have won that fight feasibly, but the vision game was just a little bit too smart by Fnatic. They knew that the wraparound was a potential, especially when Mushi didn't get caught mid. They had to know the long one was coming. I actually think the move there then is to double back and go around like this, and to actually go the long way and to fight, because that's the only position you can really take a fight at that point. Like, XCTN could have won that fight. And that could have been the game, especially if they catch Mushi, because he doesn't have buyback, no Bloodstone charges or anything like that. No buyback on any of your supports. that could have just been it, but Fnatic instead, they take a really dominant fight. There's no buyback on... actually, they do have buyback on their gyrocopter, but they're trying to see if they can hold it.
Without the Echo Slam, it's a lot more difficult for XCTN to get that initial control. So they just don't have an instant stun. You got the blink to Hex potential to come out from the lull. But if he's on the front lines, he's more than likely dying directly after. Hookshot's going to miss from DJ. So that's on cooldown for under a minute. And Mushi will take out the range racks, getting much more than this, however. Like, the Gyro didn't have to use his buyback, so he saves his money for now. And XCTN only lose their range racks. That could have been a lot worse. Kind of similar to when Fnatic got picked off, XCTN potentially could have got a lot more.
Yeah, you didn't have to use the buyback on either of your major cores, so it probably wasn't the worst deal in the world, but... I mean, you're just kicking yourself in the foot if you're XCTN, because there are opportunities for them to win this game. If that fight goes properly, then... and they don't have to blow everything on the clockwork, they could conceivably win this game. But they just had to use so much, and the clock took so long to die because of that shallow grave.
Oh, they found Burden.
Oh no.
I'm not sure why he was there.
I think they were trying to bait him and swing around, but...
the rest of XCTN wasn't there in time.
Yeah, they were so far away. Like, that was just a free kill for Fnatic, and that might just embolden them to go for push number 2, and at least force the buyback. Because the gyrocopter's just so squishy in this game now.
I love this timing as well. Like, it's like, okay, Ohio, you're going to replace the ad and Black just sold. So Black sold Vladimir's offering to pick up the Assault Cuirass. This Templar Assassin now isn't able to do the same pop that she did previously. There's just too much armor kicking in for Fnatic.
Oh yeah, you're right. Instead of going for
the Heart.
Yeah, I actually think that's the right decision. Because if you go for the Butterfly, it usually shores up both those defenses. Like, the amount of agi that you get kind of helps out a ton in this regard.
Long jump in, Black. They're going to go for it. The Abyssal Blade is still on cooldown for now, but the Ice Blast well off target, so that allows Mushi just to go ham. Back in behind, almost to the well. Chasing after XCTN, not a lot of mana left behind him, and he doesn't have a good regeneration. Only this Aegis Immortal. Primo comes in for the Echo Slam, but he only really got Mushi. It's a 3-man vision, which is nice, but DJ, he's the man to get the opening. The Ancient Apparition Ushik is on the sideline.
Nobody's
Never
dying.
cop the finger of death, but it does not matter. They locked out the Templar Assassin. This is over. They've lost too many heroes. XCTN, all in the well. Only one can fight back, and that is the Gyrocopter. But they will lose bottom racks and probably the game here.
You've got 2 buybacks on the side of XCTN, but without any of their lockdown disables, I don't actually think it matters very much.
Yeah. We're just at the point where they're fighting to the bitter end just because they can.
Yeah, exactly. But Fnatic, they're gonna take this Rex, or they take the bottom racks, they're gonna go for more. Burden's caught out, he does have the BKB, but DJ still has the 4-staff up, and he's just gonna outplay him now. She still has the Aegis as well.
And there's your bashes coming in. Burden, actually they're gonna let him live. He gets back to base, but Black's there on objective-based gaming. Nando jumps in for net, but then Black blinks forward. Like, okay, you wanted to come out that fast, we'll just kill you off, and then take out your fortress. The Ice Blast didn't connect on the Lina, which is what they needed for any kind of kill. And there it is. Good game, well played. The game was good, and well, they bounced back and forward, Blitz.
I mean, that was a really close game. I enjoyed watching that. I thought there were a lot of opportunities where XCTN were just out of the game, but they did a really good job, especially with that 3 gank. When they got 3 heroes out of that, they finally managed to pick off Black. Nobody has buyback, but they weren't able to capitalize enough because the creep waves weren't pushed in. And then you saw the 2 Roche fights. The 3 Roche fights actually were just disastrous. 2 of them, they got the Aegis stolen. The 3rd one, they get completely team wiped.